Hey guys, welcome to the 2020 financial goal review. So let's just jump into it. So the first goal in 2020 was to pay off both credit cards. Did I do it? No, I didn't. But even though that's the case, I did make a lot of progress. I started out with 2 credit cards, and I think the small credit card had $600 or $800, and I was able to pay that off completely. And I think that was done by May or June. Now, the larger credit card, off the top of my head, I don't remember what the balance was, but it was $3,000, $3,500, something like that. And I was able to pay it down to about $2,100 at the end of the year. So a pretty significant difference there. Now, I'm being pretty vague about these numbers because I'm doing all this off the top of my head, but if you want to know the exact numbers, I will be making a separate video called 2020 Financial Year in Review. That's going to take a deep dive into the numbers, showing you guys in mint, month by month, what the progress looked like, and giving you the exact numbers from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Now, the second goal was to hoard money. That one I did pretty well with. I put almost all of my money that I was able to save that was just leftover extra after I paid all my bills, because I had that job this summer that paid a lot. I was able to put quite a lot of money into savings. I think around the time I started that job, I had maybe $1,500 or $1,800 in my emergency fund. By the end of that job, I had saved up $12,600 and some dollars in the emergency fund. So that's really like $12,000 plus I was able to put away. So that just blows my mind because I've never been able to put away anywhere near that much, usually not even $1,000 in a year, and I was able to put away just an absolutely enormous amount. For me, anyway, that's an enormous amount. And then the third goal was to refinance my car. And this one I didn't accomplish either. But you know what? This one I'm not upset about. The reason that I didn't accomplish refinancing the car was because I started out the year at about $10,000 or $10,100 on the car loan. And I think it was either my second or third deployment, I had set aside any extra money I made on that deployment. That was going to go to extra payments on the car. Well, I was actually just able to put away a bit more on that deployment than I thought I was going to be able to, and by the end of it, I only owed about $5,000 or $6,000 on the car because I'd made so many additional principal payments. So at that point, I started questioning, even though interest rates were just so low at that time, was it even worth putting the hard inquiry on my credit to refinance $5,000 or $6,000? Because I had no inquiries on my credit, and that was one of the positive things toward my credit score. On the other hand, I wanted to lower my ridiculously high interest rate. But at the same time, I questioned, well, is there enough time left? Does it justify taking that hit to my credit for a hard credit inquiry to get a new loan to do this? Well, I decided to at least explore it, and I did go to the credit union associated with the employer I had this summer, tried to get them to meet me when I was home from deployment to apply for the loan, and essentially they just said, well, we don't really know what to tell you. Our branches aren't open because of the virus, so you can't come in. We haven't really set up a system to do this online yet, so we don't know what to tell you. But because they didn't end up meeting with me, I ended up not applying for the new loan to refinance it. And it turned out that it worked in my favor. And by the time I was home from the next deployment and had time to think about it more, I had paid the car loan down to, I think at that point, about $3,000. So at that point, I was sure it didn't make any sense and couldn't justify doing that. So I did just leave it with that super high interest rate of 15 point something percent while making extra payments on it while I could. And then, and I did make a video, which I can link to up above if you want to watch it being paid off, but I paid off the car with my per diem card, the last $1,600 of it. So as of about November of 2020, the car was completely paid off. So ultimately, I did not actually complete the goal of refinancing the car loan, but it was because something better happened. I just paid it off completely and eliminated that payment. So that really was the biggest reason for wanting to do that, was to lower the monthly payment, and I lowered the monthly payment by completely doing away with it. So in that regard, it was a success. But if you watched my goal setting video for 2020, you know that the goals were set fairly low this year because it was a crazy year with a lot of changes, even in January when I was trying to make the video, and I made it right after being laid off. So I made some goals that weren't super specific. Even then though, I made a lot more progress than I really thought that I probably would end up making. So overall, I'm really happy with it, and this is really the best year that I've ever had when making these financial goals. I'm really happy with it, and I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how much progress that I've made this year. And if you want to see more detail about that process, including all the graphs and everything, my next video that will be coming up will be my 2020 financial year in review, where we'll go into Mint and I'll show you both my credit card accounts, my net worth, and all of that type of thing, and you'll be able to see all of the exact numbers for how all of that turned out. So that should be out here in just a couple days, so stay tuned for that.